So, the great Mauler has released a very big video criticizing a certain Justice League by one Zack Snyder. It's filled with a lot of problems and issues and errors, and I mean him, not exactly Justice League, but he points out some legitimate issues, but for the most part, it's pretty much a waste of time. But going through and showing it's a waste of time will require time. So, there we are. So, we're going to be paradoxically going through this for a while just to show there's not much there. But we're going to see him right now. He's going to spew a lot of venom concerning the Amazonians and even mischaracterize them. And we'll try to judge whether this is worth looking at. And the answer is probably not, but we'll give him a shot.
All only to come back down to strike one enemy. All of that's pretty funny, sure, but the important question here is why the fuck would you think that dropping this into the water would do anything when King Goober over here literally teleported in? His minions can fly. Oh boy, you couldn't have guessed it. What precedes is a spectacular fight where questions raise faster than the arrows fly. Man, you may as well have repurposed those guns you got from the Germans. They'd be more useful than a fucking bow and arrow at this point. Then again, aren't the arrowheads simply inside you now? Maybe the armor isn't that effective at all, but it was so cool. There's this moment where an Amazon simply refuses to pick up the cube with her arm and the incredible Amazonian agility we all know they have, to instead throw her own bow at the ground, rather than keeping it on her to use in a moment, to then die, in order to send the cube attached via arrow to her queen, who rode away when it fell to the right of her in the first place.
Guard it with your life.
The queen, the one who drowned many of her people for this box, doesn't give a fuck when it's rolling right by her and doesn't look to defend her people as they die to get it back to her. I guess she knew it would work out. She just hopes this woman can loose the arrow split seconds before being bisected. Speaking of, what took the Amazonians so long to arrive? Look how close their city is when the portal is first seen. They're alerted immediately. 8 minutes go by and they couldn't get to Steppenwolf. Even when our guys have done at least half the journey, they may have been able to put a stop to Steppenwolf's plan. He had some trouble when 6 of them ganged up on him. Imagine a whole army. Had they been here on time, or had the box been in their fucking city, this is over. And with Steppenwolf's departure, why don't the Amazonian army further pursue him? This box is your responsibility. It leads to the destruction of your world. Wake the fuck up, you— Oh, that whole ocean of arrows is tearing the shit out of your queen, by the way.
Fire has not burned for 5,000 years. Men won't know what it means.
Then go tell them yourself, you witless muppet. This is about the end of the fucking world. So Steppenwolf eventually makes it to Atlanta.
Well, he made a little bit of a slippage, right? He said the Amazon. It's Amazonian. And he corrected himself within the same sentence seconds later, saying the Amazonian. So I don't know, does he think Amazon and Amazonian are the same thing? They're not. And he himself uses the word Amazonian. So that was a little weird gaffe. He makes a lot of these flubs throughout the whole video. So it's not one of his better videos because he admits he kind of pumped it out really fast. But again, the hatred of Zack Snyder, I guess, is worth his time. In terms of the woman, yeah, with the arrow and bow, yes, your own editing shows that they train really, really rigorously. They train really, really hard. So there's a lot of confidence. Yes, she's going to be able to manage with the bow and arrow to get the cube to safety. And she's willing to sacrifice her life. That's foundational with the Amazonians. So I'm really failing to see what you're saying. As far as, why did it take them so long? We see that. Your own editing shows that. They have horses. They can't just jump into hyperspace. I mean, what did you want them to do? Use perhaps magic to paralyze Steppenwolf? Maybe, I guess. But yeah, they have to walk, they have to run, they have to use horses. I mean, there's an interesting issue in terms of the in-universe. Perhaps the horses should go really, really fast and much. Again, their breeding by Amazonians should presumably be a lot better or stronger, right? They're being fed differently, they're being trained differently. So maybe the horses should go faster? They look like they're going pretty fast to me. It's not like they're slow on the draw. And as far as them not pursuing Steppenwolf, again, they don't have that ability. And then you mock saying, well, why don't you just alert people? You can't just throw off hundreds and hundreds of years of cultural traditions. You have hundreds and hundreds of years of cultural traditions. You can't just get rid of those. That's what world building is all about. It's like the usual, why didn't they just take the eagle in Lord of the Rings? It's not the way it works. Each civilization is different. Each group is differently. They have different strengths, different beliefs, different abilities, different dispositions. This is all laid out very well in Lord of the Rings, the book, if not the movie. In the movie, it's barely sketched, but at least you can say Peter Jackson does differentiate between dwarves and elves and say, I don't get it. Why don't you just move fast like the elf? Because they're not the same. They're not identical. The Atlanteans are not the Amazonians. The Amazonians are not humans. The humans are not the same. Do you really have to state all these things? And I guess just to finish it off, as far as Steppenwolf's durability, yeah, it's established he's very durable. So yeah, he can take a lot of punishment. There could be a ton of arrows in him. So what? He's extremely powerful. He's really, really strong. And he does reference some of the media of these characters elsewhere, usually the visual, because he doesn't read. We're going to get into that. Yeah, he's very much a comic book illiterate. But even with his illiteracy, if you just watch the Superman cartoon, Steppenwolf is really tough. He was able to take on Superman. So he's not fearful, and he can take quite a punishment. So yeah, you can throw a lot of arrows at him. He's going to stand up. He's going to be like, no, that was a good try. And he does get hurt. We see that. So it's not like he has, no vulnerability. It's just, yeah, he's dedicated and he's tough and he's going to get up. And they're riding horses. You show they're riding horses. I'm really puzzled as to what you're complaining is about. Is they should have had missile launchers. They should have had intergalactic space travel. I mean, especially for somebody who hates The Last Jedi because women do use hyperspace. I mean, what exactly is your position here? I don't quite get it. I mean, what if they did use hyperspace? I mean, what would he say there? I'm sure he would be complaining, saying, "Hey, how did that happen? Well, why'd you do that? Oh, I don't understand. Oh, now you're breaking the universe." But it's like, but you just complained. Never mind. It's like trying to find a consistency in his positions is really, really hard, and this is no exception. It's like all over the place. He's like, okay, I just got to find something to complain about. All right, but we're gonna go through him thoroughly and give him a chance, but it's not looking good. Alright, this has been Pop Cult Analyzed on Mauler's complaints with Justice League and Justice League. Thank you for listening.